What's up guys, it's just another day. Today we're back with another mobile photography video. Now today we're gonna do some editing on the mobile Lightroom app. And today I actually asked you guys on Instagram on which photos to edit. And if you want to check out my Instagram or vote on the next time I edit something or anything, link in the description. Now let's get started. We have 9 photos today to edit, and let's get started with this one. This is a airplane over the sunset, you can see. So first let's get the crop tool, and then you just straighten it. Let's see if we use the auto one. The auto one's pretty good, but you just kind of want to match it with something. You can use both the straight line to match it or the horizontal line to match it. Now that's alright. We want to see if we have the clarity. Okay, so what a lot of beginners do is that they just drag clear. That is the case. They just want to drag clarity all the way, texture all the way, and you can see how gross that really looks. You know how musty that looks. So we do not want to do that. But because this is taken on a photo, we want to add a little bit of texture and a little bit of clarity back in there. Now this grain, some beginners also like to use a lot of grain, or even more intermediate and professional people still like to use grain. But let's just, I won't be using any in this photo, so we just keep that. Now, this is the auto setting, which we probably don't want to do because we want to try to create something like our style or something we just like to do ourselves. So I want to go on the color, and let's make this a little warmer. Now I mean, editing, you just kind of go by feel. You see there's a little bit of lag here, but we just kind of go by feel. You know, that's a little too much. Then you move back a little. I think this is pretty good. We can get some little green tint in here, or purple tint. Let's see which one I like. I like the purple tint better, so let's just add a little bit of that. Now, a lot of beginners like to drag the saturation all the way, and look how much it is glowing, and we don't want that. So we can add a little bit of saturation. This should be good. And then this is a little basic. We can do, now we can try the exposure. You see how if I drag it, the less exposure, the darker and more color it has. And the contrast, it's like saturation, but it doesn't pop as much, and it just kind of darkens the other thing to try to bring out. Now I think that's pretty good for the first photo, and let's move on. Alright, this one. Now we want to use the crop again to try to line up. You can line up with the flagpole here, or the bunch of houses, or even the line at the back. And then this seems pretty good. Now let's try to go to, there's also this detail one where it's sharpening, as you can see. I don't know if it's just me, but there isn't actually much sharpening. And noise reduction, the noise is just a little blurry, like this little blurry thing. So you see how the trees at the back are losing texture? That's kind of what noise is. It's the little megapixels, and sometimes you want to do this, but just remember, everything you do, don't do too much of it. Alright, now let's do colors. Let's do a little warm tone again. I like this color, but I think it's a little overexposed, so I'm just gonna drag the exposure down a little more. And honestly, to me that looks pretty good. Sometimes if you want to bring out the highlights, you can darken the trees. You see at the front how in the back, you see how the trees are darkening? We can darken it a little to bring the focus into the flag. And then you see this, the whites, we can, on it, because the sky is just one color, there isn't much stripping out. And I think this is good. It was a quick edit. Now this one, you can see how noisy it is, right? So I think the crop is pretty good for me. Let's see if we can do a little noise reduction. We can do a little sharpening, and then I'll just make it a little warmer, but I honestly think that's pretty good already. Let's bring in a little purple, and then let's see. There isn't much shadow, it's all exposed correctly. There's no shadow or anything, so we can't really adjust much on that. But I find that I always like to bring down the exposure no matter what. I think when you're shooting, it depends where your camera is, but sometimes you want to do a little underexposed better than more exposed. But because this was moving car and I had to be quick, this is what the other one thinks, and this is what we did, and I think that's pretty good. Alright, let's move on to the next thing. Honestly, most of my photos here, I think I just like it as itself. Here's a tip: if you have the paid one, you can make a mask. So we can make a little small mask over the bird, or you see how the bird is kind of brightened up. You see this one black spot in the middle, or like the white spot. You just kind of want to blend it in, but still bring a little focus. Alright, I mean, there wasn't much to do here. We can make this a little cooler, and we could do little color grading. There's the shadows, the midtone, and the highlights. Now remember, this is the bonus one. If you don't have the paid prescription, you won't have this feature. But when I do cool ones, I usually like to go for we could try the green one. Just remember, never do too much of something. Alright, let's see. Do a little light blue. Yeah. And sometimes I just want to balance it out a little and add a bit more orange back in there. Alright. Now, this one. This one I turned my phone upside down to shoot this. That's why there is so little space underneath the car, and I found that I wanted to focus on the blue sky, so that's why I did that. But sometimes you will like to do it with the grid, like I said in my last video. You could check out and link in the description. But sometimes you want to follow the grid, and sometimes you feel like the grid is it doesn't match what you think the photo should look like. Then you should just follow your flow. But if you're a beginner and you have no idea where to start, follow the grid. Alright, now we could see, honestly, I think the crop is pretty good. However, we do want to make sure you don't mess with the car color too much. You see, when I think let's go for a little cooler vibes. Now we see here you could have this hue tool, and basically if you click this button right in here, you could tap it to see what color. You can just drag it to change the color of the car, but we don't want to do that. I'm just saying, if you really want to, you could. So this is the yellow car, and there's like a little hue. So I think it was a little darker before, so I'm just gonna make it a little darker again. Remember, we always have saturation, but you see the spot at the back in the sky right here? If we drag it, yeah, it makes it look weird, so we don't want to do that. Now, you see how it gets darker, and now we could try and use the selective tool again to select the car, and we can make it a little brighter. But if you do it too obvious, you see how that looks really weird. So we can just make it a little brighter. We do not want to drag these, so. And I think that's pretty good. But you see, it still looks a little too bright, so I'm gonna go and change it back a little darker. There you go. And this is it. Unfortunately, I was not able to edit all 9 photos because editing does take a little bit more time, and I do not want to rush the process. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out all of the finished one, even the ones that I didn't finish editing today. Check out all of them in my Instagram. Again, link in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. Always remember, follow your dreams and let go.